Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Welcome to another episode. Be sure to click the link below, get your free AI resource. You'll learn a lot more about AI, but more importantly, you get the opportunity to participate in a beta group of my new course called the AI Safe Career Pivot, Change Jobs to Something That Will Be Relatively AI Safe, so that you aren't unemployed for a long period of time, which is rapidly coming now, I'm sorry to say, for a lot of the traditional industries. And there's a reason that this is happening. One, my last video just talked about significant advances in computer processing power, both traditional and quantum. And this time, we're going to talk about big data. So one of the entry-level positions you can pivot to is data analyst, and that's an entry-level position in big data. Why is big data important? Because it greatly facilitates and improves the performance of AI. An AI algorithm, the more data it has, the more accurate it is, the better it predicts the future. That is a fundamental piece of working neural nets. And how is big data being accelerated, you ask? Well, I have the answer for you right here. And I'm going to have to do some reading because there's a tremendous number of companies mentioned in this short article, but it all ties to a massive increase in the volume of a certain type of data. And that is biometric data, meaning all these health things you wear. I wear an Oura ring, O-U-R-A, because I like rings, not watches. But a lot of people wear a Google Watch or an Apple Watch or a Fitbit watch. Not being a watch person, I like the ring, which has been really great. These things are great. So venture investment is pouring into the global biometrics market, which is expected to top $40 billion in revenue in the next 5 years. That's $40 billion. That makes it one of the bigger industries in the world at that point. That's big. One type of biometrics is facial recognition, and that is being used to pay metro fares in Moscow, catch criminals in London and lots of other places too, especially China, speed up school lunch lines in Scotland and Nigeria. By the way, AI is global. This is going to affect everyone. It's not going to only affect the developed companies. This is going to sweep every country on earth. Track potential terrorists and arrest people for cyber pre-crimes. And it's getting much more sophisticated with the advent of 3D face mapping and selfie biometrics. Now, obviously, there's a lot of privacy concerns around facial recognition. Not all countries, culturally or government-wise, care about that. China, for example, facial recognition technology and its use seems to be pretty well accepted in China. But you have to ask yourself, if you live in a different type of country like the US or Western Europe, do you want people knowing everywhere you go and everything you do because of facial recognition technology? This is a legitimate question. But that's just it. That's just the beginning. Check this out. 3D biometric authentication, 3D fingerprint scanners, voice biometrics, and behavioral biometrics, meaning they can tell who you are by how you behave. So this is wild. Amazon is rolling out palm recognition. All of this has controversy. The European Parliament, as I've talked about in other videos, voted to ban a total ban on biometric mass surveillance and the use of private facial recognition databases. In other words, private companies in Europe are not allowed to use this for the reasons I just said, which I personally strongly support. Similar efforts are happening here in the U.S. in San Francisco, Maine, Massachusetts, and Minnesota to restrict use of this technology. But then authentication is another thing. ID.me raised $100 million Series C for its platform that came under recent criticism for how it's used in distributing unemployment claims in the U.S. So the governments are using these things too. Transmit Security in Boston, $543 million Series A. Oregon-based Q5ID, $10 million. Australia-based OCR Labs, $15 million. Smile Identity, California and Cape Town, South Africa, raised $12 million. View Security, $12 million Series B. Login ID in California and Canada. So there's all of these companies jumping in on this, and there's hundreds of millions of dollars pouring into biometrics right now. Another part of this is crowd control. Israeli-based AnyVision raised $235 million for facial recognition used in malls, casinos, and other venues to track and control large crowds. So, and a lot of security systems, a bunch of companies, I'm not going to read all that. On the leading edge, you've got in France, a company, OneWave, raised $700,000 to market its OneWave card, a multi-purpose smart card that contains a built-in fingerprint biometric scanner and display. And a California-based 3Divvy, $2 million seed fund. They're introducing computer vision as a service, and we know that computer vision is driving many, many things happening in AI right now, most especially self-driving, but a ton of other stuff. So what does this all mean? It means that technologies using AI like facial recognition and fingerprints, fingernails, palms, any way that you can identify a human being, a ton of money is pouring into these verticals. Rapid growth results. Not all of these companies will be successful and come up with a mass market product, and governments are going to gradually respond to restrict this technology far beyond the EU that just recently restricted facial recognition, mass surveillance, but it's coming. And there's a lot of places in the world that are being targeted by these companies because a lot of countries don't care about stuff like facial recognition the way the EU does. They have a different type of governmental system, and it's acceptable, and it's acceptable to the populace. So, myriad issues here, but the important point is that venture is pouring at an astronomical rate into AI and AI-affiliated companies. And we can see that from a video a little while ago that I was talking about hundreds of billions pouring into AI. So this is crazy. This is far beyond the investment levels that have ever happened before, and it will drive innovation. It will drive rapid new applications, and it will drive ultimately commercial uses for AI that are currently not in use. So money drives the bus, and there's tons and tons and tons of money available for good ideas. So if you want to start your own company, do it. Do it. But you got to be able to come up with a compelling idea, a clear idea that's compelling, and put a business plan together. It's not as hard as you think. There are tons of YouTube videos teaching you how to do the things I just told you. So give it a shot. If you're younger, like my core audience, 18 to 34, this is the perfect time in your life before having kids to work at a startup or start a startup. This is the time. Because once you have kids and you get older and you need steady pay, your startup better be able to pay you because you got to save for college and massive bills. The kids are expensive, but wonderful. I wouldn't trade my personal experience of being a parent for anything in the world. But you do need stability of income. So thanks so much for tuning in. Buy my book on Amazon, The Beginner's Guide to AI. It gives you a very short but complete history, followed by how AI is impacting 10 different industries today. And click the link below, get that free resource, join the beta group. Once the beta group fills up, which is only 5 people, we're going to start charging for this course. And the beta group is helping to make sure that this course does what it promises. So thanks so much to my beta participants. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time. Take care.